Yeah, no, we're going to be doing this, and we're going to be doing it live, and it's going to be awesome, all right? There's no hiccups ever. Go!
All right, welcome to the Photofocus podcast. We're having a special Q&A episode in September 2023. This time it's going to be all about AI, and we have an expert on. But before we introduce her, let me introduce my lovely always co-host, Rob Moroto from the Great White North. Excuse me, I lost my voice just at the perfect time, of course.
Right, we still got the fire ban on, and we can't really do much fun things because now it's cold. You can't go into the ocean. But whatever.
Rob, I blame you. They closed the outdoor pool today. I had to share the indoor pool with. Well, you don't want to know.
I don't want to know
because of the air quality. Can you believe that?
Yeah, let's get the imagery of Ron in a pool out of everyone's heads, and let's dive into.
I'll have you know I'm an excellent swimmer. That's my exercise now. I don't want to hear it.
Okay,
let's not take too long here. Let's really quick thank our sponsor, and we'll bring on our special guest. And you guys listening, you're going to get the expertise in AI this time. So first, Photomatix just released version 7.1. It is a point.
It's a point one upgrade?
Point release, but it has new features. It's for photogrammetry, and because there's a lot of people in the photogrammetry world using it. You're familiar with photogrammetry, probably, Rob. I know you use it.
Yeah, kind of.
Whether you know it or not.
That's great. You know what? After the show, I'm going to go download it and try it out because I didn't even know it came out. All right. Well, that's news. That's great. All right.
HDRsoft.com. Download, try it for free. All right. Go ahead, Rob. Why don't you introduce our special guests?
Yes. Okay. So we have been getting a lot of questions about AI. And just like when we got a lot of questions about legal stuff, we like to bring in an expert who knows about all of this stuff. And the biggest questions that we've got are all related to, well, AI photos. We're not talking about ChatGPT anymore. We are talking about, well, all this other fun stuff. And to join us today, we've got Coco Mao, the CEO and co-founder at OpenArt.ai with us. Coco, welcome.
Ooh.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on Photofocus. I'm so excited.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And by the way, it is, as Rob and I usually do, late at night. So thanks for that as well.
Yeah, of course. I will work after this, so all good.
All right. Night owls unite, and we're all in the same time zone right now. So that's actually perfect.
Exactly. And now, Coco, before we get into any of this, let people know, what's your background in tech and AI and all this other stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So let me give a quick intro about myself. So I studied computer science in Carnegie Mellon, and after I graduated, I joined Google. As my first job, I was working at Google Photos, where I did a lot of like image search stuff. Both worked on the mobile app and the backend machine intelligence. So I had experience with computer vision and machine intelligence. And after that, my current co-founder and I did our first stop at Google's incubator, where we were building a short video platform focusing on lifestyle content. And we worked on it for 2 years and had millions of monthly active users. And Google Search acquired us from the incubator. And then we became part of Google Search. And then, but we always wanted to do our next thing. So last year, we quit Google to start OpenArt.
Hey, when was that they acquired you for the search?
It was 2020. Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple of years. We're in 2023 now. Okay, because this AI trend has been really, we think it happens so fast and is just everywhere now, but it's been building up for several years. And I mean, I know from, I shouldn't tell that story. I like how you mentioned some of those internal Google Photos things. I remember one feature was that it would just go through your images and just look for the best ones.
Yeah.
Where like if you had so many of us forget about all those things we took a long time ago and maybe don't realize you got a good shot. And so that was a cool thing. I remember running that, and I remember, and I posted a few. I said, "Hey, here's some reworked ones that I just found from that."
Yeah.
So, was that you?
No, wait a second. I'm just doing the math here. So you did that when in 2020, and you just said that you started OpenArt AI this year.
2022.
2022. Okay. So here's the thing that gets me. Since 2022, how many users do you have right now?
Oh, yeah. So right now we have over 1 million monthly active users on OpenArt.
Okay, maybe it's just me, but that seems like a lot of people to sign up and have to use your product within that short of a time. That's like in a year you got 1 million users. That's
Rob, have you heard the coverage that AI is getting in the media?
but that's
Yeah, I do think we are also very fortunate here because a lot of our traffic came from like Google search. Well, definitely working at Google let us know a lot about Google search optimization. So if you search for AI art, we are the #1 organic result.
Yeah, and you have an amazing URL, openart.ai.
Yeah, that's right. So
and
Google
OpenAI, I'm sure, helped that as well.
Yes, probably. So like the art of coming up with a name.
Definitely.
Oh, is there AI for that?
I'm sure, and you can, chat with ChatGPT too.
Create me the best URL that nobody has.
Right. Wow, that's incredible. So, okay, so let me preface this. So when we do anything with photographers are typically, they are in a world where they don't know where their next paycheck is coming from, and they're always excited about new things, but it's always a little bit scary because you don't know what's happening. And so, when all of a sudden the iPhone started coming out with like new cameras and better resolution, now a 48 megapixel camera, right? So. People were out there saying, "Oh no, what about my future? Nobody's going to hire a photographer anymore. Everyone's got these cell phones." And that never stopped photography business, actually enhanced it and helped it. And then, now people are doing the whole Chicken Little thing again and saying, oh my God, AI is going to ruin all of our jobs and take it all away from us. What are we going to do? And so one of the questions that we're going to get into is that actually going to be a reality? And before we get into that, though, we have to really understand what is AI when it comes to art. Like, I hear the word generative AI, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that the right term? Okay.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah. So I think generative AI is different from traditional AI in the sense that a lot of like AI technologies in the past is really good at, like doing jobs, let's say like identifying faces. Like back in Google Photos, I was working on image search where like we can tag all of your faces and categorize by people face, So like traditionally AI is really good at these jobs, like searching, organizing, but not really good at creating things. However, like this new generative AI technology is really the new type of AI where AI started creating, not just like doing like organizing, categorizing kind of jobs. So that's why, like we emphasize it's generative AI because it can generate things from scratch.
Well, it's as in creating something versus doing a task. It's creating.
Exactly. Versus like, categorizing or like recognizing and so on.
It's not the new iOS update. There's would you call it AI, where it's going to go through and find all the photos of my pets?
Yeah. So that's more like traditional AI.
Yeah. Yeah. That's machine learning, right? Where I was told by software people that machine learning and AI are almost a synonymous thing. I guess I'm sure there are subtle differences that most of us are not going to know, but it's really just throwing all this information at the at the what are you calling it? Not a library, the model.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
throwing enough at the model that it can do the thing you want it to do.
Yeah.
And then so it's not so much that it's really thinking like we feel like it is. It's just that it's seen so much. So it's like
Yeah.
wisdom.
Yeah, actually, very similar with generative AI. How generative AI works is also like you train a model, and the model will see a lot of images, and then and then to be more specific, it's trained on both like the image and the text, the description of the image, like some text. So when it's generating, you can feed the model a text, like a description, and then it can, based on what it has learned before, it can generate an image.
So from what I'm hearing then is that there are three stages of this, where stage one, it's taking the verbal input of what you're looking for, and then it's it's actually searching through, like, number one, understanding what the question is. Number two, finding all the sources of information that are relative to that. And then number three, taking stuff from the sources and making it into something.
I think that's the right way to think about it, except I think the second part is not as it's I think you're right about, like, it's trying to kind of recall what it has learned in the past and then come up with this new thing. But the really interesting thing about generative AI is that it's not trying to really copy any of the existing work, like pixel by pixel. It's not like that. It's more like it creates something new that probably like doesn't look exactly like any of the images it has seen before.
That's the amazing part to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's really right. Because more specifically, because the process of generating the image, it's a denoising process. Basically, how it works is that when you start generating image, it's just a bunch of noises. It's like so unclear, you couldn't really see what it looks like. It feels like you are looking at an image through like a bunch of fog. And then what the model does is that every step it's like denoise the image so that the image gets more and more clear. So then it's a kind of a creative process, and it denoises, and it will create a brand new image that doesn't look like any of the image you have seen before.
So I was just about to ask if you, because I didn't quite understand. I guess I don't have a clear idea of what you mean by the denoising in that. Is that where, I guess I'm looking for like a layman's description about where does it go? How does it go from machine learning, where I've seen this before, I know what to do? That's machine learning, right? Is that fair? Like it's just seen enough that it can do the task, compared to the generative. Like how do you make that leap as the developer to make it generate something new?
Let me try to understand the question. You are asking, how is this generative AI technology different from the previous ones?
Yeah, because I think if I can...
the generative part, the generative versus task.
So if I can just reframe the question here, it's like this. If we ask a computer, show me a picture of a cat, there's a cat, right? Show me a picture of a car, there's a car. Show me a picture of the cat driving the car backwards. All of a sudden, that's not something that is I've got a library full of cats driving cars backwards. You actually have to create it because it's not there, right? So that's the part that's really cool, where it knows car, it knows cat. How do you put them together and make it drive backwards? Like that's
in photography terms, like it's common to do select the sky is now an AI feature, right? In like Lightroom or something. But that's because it's seen so many darn skies that it can figure it out. Where's the leaves and where's this and what do I look for? And it's just seen so much that if I understand this right, hey, everybody out there, comment if I got this wrong. But my understanding is that, again, machine learning means you show it that many skies and that
Mm-hmm.
many buildings in front of the sky, or that many hills in front of a sky, and it can almost always select the sky. But
Yeah.
creating a whole new thing, I don't know how you guys, as the smart, amazing developers that came up with this, make the leap into the generating the new artwork.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how to. I think this is a really good question because
Thank you.
yeah, this is such a great question. I don't know how to honestly explain it best, but I'll just try my best to, based on my knowledge, to explain this. Because I'm sure there are technical things I don't even fully understand, but my understanding is that while it has, as Rob said, it has seen many cats and it has been seeing many cars. So when you so it understands these concepts, the model does. So when you are asking a cat rides a car, and also you need to understand the machine also understand the concept of riding, because among the images it has seen, it will be like people riding horse, like people riding donkeys. So it actually understands all of these concepts. And then when you say cats riding a car, it's just trying to really synthesize all of the concept it understood and then produce an image. And sometimes that's why you will see really bizarre image that doesn't make sense, because it's really trying its best to create an image it has never seen before. But sometimes you will get it pretty accurate or pretty creative. I think that's where you can see a lot of randomness in the image it generates.
Yeah. It's like it's gone from, if you watch read a Philip K. Dick novel, I think they turned that into iRobot, where the AI was doing its job, but suddenly it decided that its job should be different. And that's kind of this leap that I'm still getting my head around. So
yeah, but it's but I just want to clarify that these are even though they are both called models, but then these are very different models.
Yeah.
It's I just went into openart.ai and typed that in, and it's quite neat. You're absolutely right. It's got a cat on a car riding it like it's riding a horse, but backwards. And it's really neat that it could do that. I never even thought about the fact that it's actually understanding the term ride, because that is unique, and it is that's
So
interesting.
Where does that part of the model come from? Like when you create this, where does that have we? Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you something.
Yes.
I heard that when you do those, and I think it's Google related, you do those little, I think they're captchas where it says select all the bicycles you see in the photos, or select all the sidewalks. Were we training the AI?
I couldn't say for sure, but I did hear that those are used for training images to improve like computer vision models or machine learning models. I think I heard about that too.
Just like me though, so I can't confirm anymore than I can. Okay, fair enough. I meant to ask that.
So now and now here's the other thing that I find really, really neat about this generation, the generative AI, is that because it generates it, if I put in the same prompt again and again and again and again and again and again and again,
it's always different.
It's always different.
Yeah,
why is that?
Yeah, the reason is that when the model started generating the image, it start with just imagine. Okay, I should make an analogy here. When a model tries to create an image, it starts with a bunch of noises. Think of noises as just random pixels, okay? Like some random pixels. And then it tries to, because these pixels are random, so the initial state is random. And then you are trying to, it tries to follow the instruction you give to it. Let's say a cat riding a car, and then it's okay, start with the random pixel, but I'm going to make this random pixel last random by following the instruction. So because the initial state is different every time, it's random, so the image you get will be different. However, here's one trick I'll teach you if you use our platform or any others. So there's a configuration called seed on our platform. It's under like generation config. There is called seed. So
Okay.
seed can control the initial state. So for any image, like at least on our platform, will tell you what seed it was using. So if you use the exact same prompt, like same weight, height, everything the same, and you put in the same seed, you will get the exact same image back.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense because if you've got the same, if the only part that is random is the very first seed part of it, then of course everything else is going to be just computational and it's following the same computational
Exactly.
model.
And if you want to learn another trick is that the seed is very neat because this is how machine, initialize the state. So let's say, Rob, today you created an image that you really like. You like perhaps it's a character, you like how character looks like, or you created a photo of like a photography, like a photo of like a beautiful scene, and you really like the vibe. But it's really hard to reproduce that image again, right? But one thing you can do is that if you get the seed, then you just record that seed and slightly change the prompt and use the same seed. You're going to get a very similar image back.
Oh, perfect. So
It's like
if
That's the way
Minecraft.
to reduce randomness.
yeah, okay. So if, for example, I put an image out and say I just wanted to do, I don't know, maybe I'm working on a project and I've got a cat riding the car, but now I need the car to be red, but I like everything else except for the fact that the car's not red. I could use the same seed and just change it to say red car. And hopefully,
May work. It may work. You can try, but there's actually another tool on our platform that can make it a lot easier, which is called Magic Brush. It's similar to Adobe's Generative Fill, actually, where
okay.
erase the car and
Yeah.
then say green car instead red car, and it will make the image keep the rest of the image the same while changing that exact component. So on our platform, you will be able to see a lot of like these very specific and neat use cases.
No, it's just amazing. I keep
Is
on
that like
looking
a
at your stuff there.
Is that kind of conversational too? Where if you once it generates something, can you say, now make the car red with text?
Yes, you can just say that.
Huh.
Okay, cool.
So I guess this is actually kind of leading into my next question, or the next question. And this is the question. These are questions that we get from our viewers. Like, oh my God, I heard about generative AI, but there's so many generative AI programs or generative art programs, or which is the best, and what's the difference between them? Like,
And let's just throw. I meant to throw out there also that OpenArt is not sponsoring anything. We're doing this for fun.
Yeah.
Coco agreed to join. We wanted to talk about it, so we're free to talk about whatever we want.
yeah.
But please.
Sure, I'll definitely try to be objective, but still biased.
No, we totally want you to be and expect you to be biased. That's your business. Yeah. I meant to say at the beginning that it's not a sponsored thing.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking you up only. That's all.
Yeah. But I agree with Rob. There are many AI image creation platforms out there. And I think OpenArt is the best for many reasons. One, we are like super easy to use. Even if you are a beginner that has never used AI image creation before, you come to our site, you'll find everything's easy. We perhaps some people may heard of Meet Journey, but you actually need to install Discord to use it. Not the most user-friendly experience ever. But we are browser-based, and also we have a tutorial section where we literally guide you through like each section, teaching you how to do it. So even if you are like a dummy or like a beginner, you'll find you'll pick it up. And then second thing, we really target prosumers and professionals for business use cases. That's why when you come to our platform, you will see that we have like this sketch to image tool where you can turn a really simple sketch to an image. We are targeting artists, designers who want to quickly test out their ideas or help them save the work of rendering. So, and also for like photographers, since a lot of audience I know are photographers, two tools could be really useful here. Actually, three. One is like stock image transformer. Let's say you like get a stock image you like, but you really want to, like change things about it. Let's say that you really like the vibe of the image, but you want to change a woman to a man, then you can use the stock image transformer to easily do that. And another thing is like a people stock image creation, where you don't need to write any prompts. We have a lot of chips or options you can choose from. You just need to like click, 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 and then get pretty high quality people images, like portraits. And finally, another thing useful is creative variation, where you have an existing image, but it can create variations of that image, which could be really neat for ideation and inspiration and so on.
Well, especially for graphic designers where it's like, well, I like this logo, but I need to change it a bit to make it more modern or more this or more that. That's a great way because all it's doing is spitting out options.
Yes.
But you're still the one out there saying, okay, I like this part of this image, I like this part of that. Now I've got my new logo that I'm building for my client. So it's still the creative work of the designer, but it's using this to help with that creative process.
Yeah, that's very right. And in fact, when I talk to designers, they give me a really interesting reason is that, clients always want millions of options. And so if you already design one option and you actually want the client to choose that design is your favorite, but sometimes you just have to present a few options so that the client feel like I'm choosing. So then you can use this creative variation just to spawn out a few options and then present to the clients.
And do you know if there are, if it's not your own image? I know you're a photographer too, Coco. I don't know if you get into we get a lot of questions about the copyright and stuff like that. So if it's a stock image that you didn't take and you got it off a whatever stock site, can you, with that license, can you go then like, so you paid for it in that way, but I suppose you have to use that image the way it is. So what about changing it? How does that, do you know how that comes in with a legal part?
Good question. That's why we have a disclaimer on website that you should have the rights to the image
to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's put that on the list for David Deal, because where does it come? Like, if I licensed it, I get to use it however the license says. But if the license doesn't say
allow you to use it as part of a derivative work,
the license is typically for like a time frame and a breadth, how it's going to be used. But I imagine that already those agreements now say whether you can adjust it or not and use it as a derivative and stuff. So.
Like now that the AI is, this generative AI is here, I do think a lot of things with copyright will actually start to evolve. For example, in the past, we assume an image is just like pixel by pixel and you never need to you don't really think of them as derivatives, like because it's an image. But now with AI, it's so easy to, like make derivatives out of an image. Like then do you need to have like additional license for those? I don't know. I think everything is in a lot of gray areas right now, but I think copyright will keep evolving.
It's, it's funny. I was talking to somebody else about this and they said that the reason that we don't have self-driving cars on the road is not because that the self-driving technology is not at a point where it could be on the road. It is because of the legalities and all of the if a car crashes into somebody, whose responsibility is it?
Right.
That's going to be the part that hasn't gotten through. So just like the copyright stuff, it's the legal stuff that's going to be the hindrance afterwards. And unfortunately with photography and online stuff like this, it's actually going ahead and the legal stuff has to catch up. I think David was talking about that when we were doing our legal podcast. But
This might
Tell me,
be Rob. Sorry, I'm sorry. This just might be a nice intermezzo moment to attack a couple of the other questions that we get that aren't directly for Coco, but because some of the AI out there, I'm just, as we do on the Q&A show, I'm trying to sort of wrap a few things into a couple of statements. And, a lot of the AI out there is not generating new things or changing things. A lot of it is
somewhere else.
Well, I might put photos or video. I'm not a video guy, but photos or video into something and say, go, and use the AI to create me a video. And I can say, add some text, add this, add a voiceover. All that's AI. So there are, that's another use for it that still is a bit, I don't know if I would put it in that generative category or not, because it goes through your photos and finds a nice way to make a slideshow. I'll put link in the show notes to a couple of the lists that I found when I was kind of researching for the show. There's a good YouTuber that I'll put in the show notes because I can't remember his name, that listed like 5 video editing AI softwares. And there are those, I'll find at least one link to share with, I tried, here are the 10 things you can use to run your business on AI or whatever. Now, of course, they're over promising because it's a YouTube, they want the clicks, but still, besides ChatGPT, there are so many things that can create you thumbnails, can create you contracts, which I don't recommend. They can create you teaser videos. They can create you. I don't know if you guys have any other ideas, but I wanted to hit on that a couple of those as well. But go ahead.
Okay, so here's one question that we do get from that we did get. Where does the source image come from?
Yeah. Yeah. So for example, like a lot of our models are based on this open source model called Stable Diffusion. And so that, as far as I know, so it's using a very large data set that is basically crawling over the internet. So that does include, I think, some like copyrighted images and copyright-free images. So yeah, I think that's why people might have heard of like a lot of there are lawsuits against like Stability AI, against Midjourney, and so on. So I think that is a gray area, how these like images are the models are trained, because it's just all over the internet. However, I think like Adobe is trying to do something that's trying to solve these concerns, because Adobe has like Shutterstock, which is like right, all of these images. And I think Adobe's model, they're trying to do it more solve more of the copyright issues. But again, I think the copyright will keep evolving.
It's funny. I saw that on I put out a quick YouTube video about how to use generative AI in a real estate photo kind of thing. And one of the comments from one of the viewers said, well, yes, when this becomes out of beta into the mainstream Photoshop, which it just did, I think yesterday or the day before, you will be able to use it commercially. And the reason that you can use it commercially is because all the source images are coming from Adobe stock. However, now the question becomes, are the people who those little pieces of, bits are pulled from their stock image, put into somebody else's image, are they actually getting paid through the stock?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think the traceability is very interesting, because I think I once read some article about how the business model, or like how the incentives could work, because how could you trace, because when Adobe, let's say, creates an image, it's learning from so many images. It is kind of hard to trace, okay, this was like influenced 50% by this image, or this was influenced 20% by that image. So it is a tricky question if you do want to incentivize. I'm not sure if there's a really fair way to incentivize, but I do think if Adobe does this, like there should be some incentives for all of the creators.
Some
No,
micro payments for when the other day I wanted to the realtor did a shoot, and they said, and they didn't have the candle they wanted. So I said, listen, we got to get out of here. Let me add it. So I said, add a candle. And then it was on fire. And I said, add an unlit candle. Couldn't do it. I tried all the different prompts. So,
Yeah.
but I wonder if the person who contributed that candle, or the 9 different options it gave me, I wonder if they got some micro payments for that. That's a really good question, Rob. We got to look into that.
I highly doubt it, but perhaps. And I do want to comment the reason it's very hard for you to get an unlit candle is probably in all of the training data set, all the candles are do have fire, so then it's hard to get a candle without fire.
It was more confusing than that, because I'm pretty sure the first one I got was perfect. So then I went to the next photo of the same door from a different angle, and I just said the same thing: add a candle. And it gave me a different candle.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out the seed.
You need to figure out the seed. Yes.
Oh yeah. See, yeah. The seed could help, but I don't know if they expose that. But
no, I don't think so.
If you do have the same seed, that could help. But you see, I think I talked to Rob in the previous session. I think consistency, or reducing randomness, is one of the issues of generative AI now.
Well, I'm going to call on sorry, I'm going to call on Photoshop, Adobe. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. I'm going to call on Adobe to add something for us, so I can say, I can have my own library, and I can say, add television screen number 2 from my own library of either my images or things that I've saved, or however that's going to work. So that's going to be the next thing, because there are these tasks that you do over and over. And so you might, I might choose the scene on the television just so it matches the room better from a photographic standpoint. We're just adding a fake scene on a TV, pretending it's on. And so these tasks that we do over and over, I would rather have it from my own stack, or whatever you want to call it. So that seems reasonable, right?
It is. In fact, so on our platform, for example, we have a section called Train Your Own Model. So what it does is that you can actually train your own model by giving the AI some images of a specific person, or specific object, or specific even style, and then you will get your own model. And then what you are saying about, let's say you have a few images of that TV, and then you can just train the model. It takes 10-20 minutes, pretty fast, and then you can say, add this to your to the image. So it is totally feasible.
Wait, whoa. So you're telling me that I could take 50 images of Ron and put it on there and train the model on Ron's face, and then I can say, put Ron's face on Pikachu.
That's right.
Everyone should.
Yeah. So but disclaimers, it may, it does have randomness, which means some of the image may not be as good as you want, but yes, it can actually produce some really good images. In fact, I could also screen share later if you are interested.
I'm gonna play with this.
It is an audio show. We're just we see each other, but it's cool.
Wow. Okay, so
well,
then
we can do something else later, and we can if you want to do some screen captures, we can put those out on social media probably to promote.
That'd be fun. But okay, so now I think this leads into the next question that we get is I'm going to group all these questions into the category of what are the limitations of generative art, because we get these questions why can't I don't know, I don't understand why the generative art can only produce a 1080 or 1024 size pixel, or why can't we we answered one of the questions, is why is it always random? So that was one. And then but the size one was an interesting one. Why is that?
Yes, sure. So I think there are mainly two reasons for the size limitation. One is the GPU resources, because when you are generating these images, it's actually costly. Well, not costly as like each image a few $100s, but it's like more like a few cents or even lower. But accumulatively, it's a lot. So like when you are and then it's taking GPU a lot of resources in terms of memory and computation to generate one image. So the larger the size is, the more GPU it requires, and and even with like pretty good GPU, like it's actually really hard to generate over like say 2000 by 2000 or something like that. On OpenR, the most we offer is 1040 by 1040.
So real quick, on the last show, we kind of were teasing this and kind of having a conversation about it. I just want to make sure that Rob says,
Ron was right.
just to make sure that. So I guess that it was going to be the processing power.
But there's second reason though.
But before you go on,
yeah,
can you tell us, well, why? When you generate the image, is it the generation part that's small, or is that going to be like working in a vector situation where the size doesn't come into it? Like, why is the pixel size the thing versus the energy that it takes to find these things?
Okay. My understanding is that my co-founder may be able to say it better, but my understanding is that each model is really big. It's like 3 to 5 gigabytes each model. And so when the model size is huge. So when you run this model on your memory, so the larger the output image is, the more memory it requires. So at one point, you just run out of memory.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense in one way. I'm still not sure why. I'm not going to hold you to it, why the actual ending pixel size is that, but I understand that the models are enormous themselves. So yeah, sorry, go ahead. What you're going to say a second.
The second thing is that if you think about how this model gets trained, is that most of them are the training images that are usually 512 by 512, or at most like 760 by 760, 68. So then if you are learning from these images, it's like when you try to generate larger images, it can actually be pretty flawed. That's why when you generate 1024 by 1024, oftentimes you see two hats, or like, a lot of fingers.
So you're saying that the model, even though the model is many gigabytes, right?
Yeah.
I thought it would be more. So to keep the model to a reasonable size, it's using smaller pixel size images for the training. Is that?
Yeah. Well,
otherwise the model itself would be much bigger if it used full size or bigger images. Is that right?
I think that sounds right. Yeah, so when the model is learning from all of these images, it actually, even if you give 512 by 512, I believe it also shrink. When the model really learns it, it needs to like shrink the images even more.
That's interesting. Yeah, thank you. That's a big realization about.
Yeah, so when you try to generate really large images, it's actually pretty hard. It's like it's harder and harder to generate higher quality images, just because you've only seen so many smaller images. It's hard to generate really big images.
All right, so I just want to take a pause because I think I'm going to have the good question that people are going to want to ask.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You mentioned having two hats because you're using multiple smaller images. Is that the reason for having all the extra fingers? All these AI people have the wrong amount of fingers is a famous thing.
Yeah, it is. I know.
You think that's why?
I think it's a famous thing. It could be partially the reason, but yeah, I don't think I have the best answer for that, but it is a fact. Like, yeah, it's pretty bad at generating fingers. However, I do want to say, like, I've seen some newer models, like not like kind of like separate models that could help you fix fingers and like faces and so on. For example, on our platform, we actually provide face enhancement. So sometimes when you use AI to generate, like the eyes don't look exactly real or the face looks weird, and then if you apply our face enhancement, you get a lot better quality.
Yeah.
Very
And you
nice.
also have to fix the issue with the file size. Like if you have something that's 512, I also see on your website that you have an upscale and
Yes,
enhance that you
that's
can
right.
use to make
Yeah.
it bigger.
Exactly. So we provide upscale where for example, you have 512 by 512, but if you want to post on social media in larger size, you can just upscale. However, we are going to also launch something super exciting, which is expand your image. Let's say today you have a square image, right? But
Hmm.
let's say you want to post on Instagram story and then you need a portrait image. So very soon we're going to have a feature where you can upload a square image and it's going to like expand the image, fill in
Oh,
more pixel for you. And with that, we will have less of the image limit, because what we will actually do is to kind of separate your image into half and then expand the up, expand the down, so then we have a full image. So in that case, we can actually create even bigger images, more than 1024 by 1024.
huh. No, that's interesting. And playing with open art, I think one of the coolest things that I saw was it's a creative generation of art from a sketch. So you can do like a hand sketch of something and say, "Oh, color this or make this into a cartoon." The other one, which was really cool for my line of business, we do real estate photography and we work with a lot of builders, but we get a lot of blueprints and we have to make 3D models out of those blueprints. But sometimes our clients just want to see, what's it
Yeah.
going to look like. I uploaded a front exterior of a house that we're rendering right now, put it in and said, make this look like a nighttime photo. And bam, it did it. It took,
Mhm.
18.2 seconds?
Mhm.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, I think this is one of our most popular features, sketch to image, where you can give it a sketch, but honestly, you can give it a photo too. And then you can choose different style. You can even choose a color palette, and then it will turn into a fully rendered image. It has been a pretty magical experience for if you just like try out like openr.ai and then you click and it's like free to use. And yeah, like I think it generates some really impressive results.
No, definitely. I've been having a lot of fun just playing around with it for sure.
In fact, before we kind of wrap up, Coco, there you can go and use it for free to try. Is that right?
Yeah, so we are a freemium product, meaning that there are features you can always use for free. We never charge you. Like there are like basic models you can use, generate images. However, we do offer a premium version that like for certain features, once you run out of our trial credits, you will need to subscribe. We give everyone 100 trial credits where you can use a lot of premium features, upfront, and then decide for yourself whether you want to subscribe. But a lot of features are just like free forever.
Cool. And we're gonna put in a coupon code. Okay, so like I said, not sponsored, but we're still gonna help promote you.
Yeah.
Photofocus 20 in the show notes to get a
Yeah,
discount,
and the photo
20%.
focus all capitalized.
All capital. It has to
Okay.
be capitalized. Usually those are not case sensitive.
Oh,
But
okay.
then
I'm not sure. Just FYI.
yeah. And then maybe there'll be an affiliate link in there by the time this show comes out. I'm not sure, but yeah, check it out. I mean, if so many people are asking about AI,
I
and
think
it's the current mysterious thing. 20 years ago it was panoramic, and 10 years
Mhm.
ago it was HDR, and now it's AI, and there's all this mystery around it. And if there's any advice I'm going to give, is do what I've done some, but not enough, is just go try them. Like I went
I
to
agree.
whatever when DALL-E came out, I got on, chance to try it, and I didn't do too much, but I learned what the prompts were. I learned that it came out crazy, this or whatever. I got my feet wet a little bit, and I just recommend anybody do that because it's the future. What are you gonna do?
I totally agree. And I think I also have some advice for photographers, because I think photographers actually can use like OpenArt in many ways to really help yourself become more creative and more productive. Like one case Rob mentions that you can upload existing images to see how AI will, do the creative variation on that. And another way I have seen some photographers using our site is to basically like just, like type some prompt and then asking it to even generate something you kind of have in mind but then hard to really visualize, to give yourself a more visual idea. For example, I talked to a photographer that is using our platform to generate like very specific type of photography, like kind of like old style, nostalgic. It would be really hard for him to actually produce that kind of photography, but he was able to use the prompt to create, like the same theme. Probably he also used the same seed to produce like very consistent style of photography, and now he's going to do an art show on that.
Oh wow.
So you're basically saying that the generative stuff, creating art, is all changing, where their photography business is going to retain taking photos of things that really exists, like weddings, portraits, houses, buildings. Besides that, you just generate it if you want art, right?
Yeah, and I also feel like another idea I want to contribute to photographers here is to consider AI, to consider using AI to give your clients even more. As an example, as I mentioned, our platform has this like training your own model. I could imagine that as a wedding photographer, since you're already taking a lot of photos of the couple, right? Like perhaps you can train a model based on the wedding photos you took, and then you can use that model to generate a lot of fun or like funny images that the couple would never just go to take by themselves. But then like these are just very creative, like very I don't know, like open-ended photos that you can offer to clients as another package.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about the idea of creating your own model, and that was one of my questions was, how much would it take? So do you think a typical wedding shoot of what is it, a couple hundred photos, would that be enough to do what you're saying? Would that be enough to train that model?
Oh yeah, no, the model only need 10 to 20 images.
Oh wow, okay. So is that going to be a future product, like a model creator?
I think it has kind of been like, I know like there are some creators, some people that are just really like making money from this.
Fascinating. Hey, that's a great one.
And it's really cool. One of the things that I found very interesting about the OpenArt is if you go into the Discover section, you'll see what the people have put in as their prompts and what they got, and you get to see how they kind of got there. And it's really cool. Like some of the descriptions are amazing. Like there's this one person calls their handle is Snail Push, and it says splash art, octane render, ghost black hooded cloak, faceless dark fantasy atmosphere, very detailed character facing camera. And it came out like it looks like a cover of like Assassin's Creed or something. It's really cool. So I love the fact that not only are we now just getting creative with the imagery, but we're actually getting back into the days where people read books and were able to explain things really, really well to create imagery in their head. And I think that's neat because now we're writing to create imagery again.
Yes, that's right. However, I do want to say that I feel like today the format of writing a prompt and then getting an image, I think it's just I really don't think it's the best way to interact with AI, because you kind of need to master this prompt engineering, so-called, and it's just not very beginner friendly. That's why you can see on OpenR a lot of ways we want to guide people to interact with AI is to like use, for example, Sketch, use an existing image, because we really believe that like there are so many more ways you can interact with AI than just like by writing this very scientific prompt or like this super lengthy and not beginner friendly prompt. So I think we are trying to innovate more ways that, like people can interact with AI.
Okay, I predict there's going to be a new movie in the new dystopian future where everyone just talks in prompts. That's going to be the next thing. But hey, let's cue the music, as we say, because we established one of our themes in episode 1 where I think Rob too, we could talk all day, but we need to wrap things up. We've kept listeners for nearly an hour. So
yes.
Let's do that. And Rob, do you want to, let Coco go last? To say what you'd like to say on parting comments. What about you?
Yeah, no, definitely. And first of all, I want to say thank you, Coco, for coming on, because this has been fantastic. It's answered a whole lot of questions for me, but what it's also done is it's opened up a whole lot of questions in my head about what can I do now. And so this is actually quite exciting. I'm really excited to go out there and play more on OpenArt, and I'll see if I can get my backwards car driving cat and get a good image of that.
I expect to see that result so I can post it in the post for this episode. I want to see a cat riding facing backward. Is that right?
Yes. And I'm going to try and do the machine learning of Ron face on a Pikachu.
On the Pikachu. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Wearing Crocs, please.
Exactly. Ron, your turn.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Coco. Appreciate it. This is, I just want to mirror what Rob said. We have so many questions, other people's questions and our questions, that I think it puts a lot into perspective. I know I got a few gems. The seed, the way it's trained on tiny images, I just think that has a ton. That as the person that is prompting or whatever, however you're interacting with this, I think keeping that in mind, like knowing how things work a little bit, is going to help. And I think that's something that is going to be the next trend, is to sort of learn what the AI is looking for and a little bit about how it works, just like you want to learn how your camera works, so how you can just get the better results. The more you know about how the optics work and everything, you can get better results. So I think that's going to be the same. So really appreciate that. Thanks for staying up late, and I know you're going to work late. What do you want to tell people about the product that you didn't already, or yourself that you haven't already?
Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show. Like really, I felt like it was a really meaningful conversation talking to you guys. And when you ask these questions, I feel like sometimes I don't even think about these questions. So it's really nice to learn from the outsider perspective. I think I really want to just encourage all the audience, like all the photographers or non-photographers, to embrace, at least, try it out, just to find whether you can find something that can make you more productive, more creative. And I feel like I guarantee you will. And this technology is like improving every day, every week. And so like, even if you feel like the quality is not here, like it's not there today, like in a month, you will see a lot of progress and a lot of improvements. And so we're really here to help everyone to be more, really leverage the generative AI in your workflow and for your benefits. So definitely check us out at openr.ai.
All right, and I normally end the show with saying, please get out and shoot and get some practice, do something new. This time I'm going to say, go get your feet wet with AI Generative, see what it's all about. Even if you don't do anything with it soon, it's the future. You're going to be more ready for it as it comes. So I hope when I was coming up with questions, I hope that's what the audience was asking. Hey, audience, if you have other questions that we didn't hit, or comments, good or bad, questions at photofocus.com. And with that,
we're done.
Just going to say Adios.
All right, thanks everyone.